Hello, this is Rhonda Green of The Practical Politician. Today's show will be about, we've got an interview with Tom Day, the Democrat Party candidate for Commissioner, 2nd District, and Preston Shell, the Republican candidate for Commissioner, 2nd District. But first I want to do a couple of announcements. All right, the first one is about the Libertarian candidate sound-off and hog roast. This will be on September 28th between 4 and 6 p.m. at the Campbellsburg Community Building in Campbellsburg, Indiana. The public is invited, and this will be our first candidate sound-off. All right, and what we're going to try to do is to get candidates from all the local political parties to go ahead and have a 5 to 10 minute speech, and let's just see. It would be something similar to Fancy Farm, okay? So we want to make sure that the public knows that this is available to them. Now, something that's sooner is August 21st, an open door laws presentation at the Little York Firehouse from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. The state of Indiana is sending down a representative from the Open Door Laws, or the Open Door Laws counselor, and we'll give a presentation on the Open Door Laws. Once again, the public is invited and encouraged to come. Once again, that's August 21st, Thursday night, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Okay, so here we go. Tom Day, Preston Shell. Thank you so much. All right. This is Rhonda Green for The Practical Politician, and I'm here with Preston Shell. You're the Republican?
That's correct.
For Commissioner of Washington County, the Salem District, right? Or was it 2nd District?
District 2.
District 2. And I've got Tom Day over here, who is the Democrat Party member who is running for office.
Yes.
Let me go ahead with Tom first. Go ahead and say why you're running. Why are you running?
Well, I mean, of course, I'll go ahead and give you a little background on myself. My name's Tom Day. I'm 44 years old. I'm a lifelong resident of Washington County. I've always been a big believer. When you get out of school, lots of kids and lots of people move away. Washington County was a place I always wanted to stay. This is where my family's been. It's where I was born and raised. I've always liked Washington County. I've cared about Washington County, and I want to see Washington County thrive, and I want to see the people in it thrive. So I feel like I've got a lot to bring to the Commissioner's office, and I'm going to try to run and see if I can become a commissioner and help the county to keep progressing in the right direction.
All right, Preston, what do you want to do?
I'm Preston Shell. I'm a Republican running for the county commissioner. I've got 28 plus years as dedicated service to the county, and I think that's a plus on my side. And I've had a lot of pros and cons in the county, and I've been in the county all my life, 66 years. And I think I will be an asset as county commissioner, and that's why I'm running, because I've got many tools I think I can bring, a lot of knowledge I can bring to the commissioner.
Commissioner thinking.
Yeah, commissioner thinking.
Thinking.
Yes. Commissioner thinking. Yes.
Okay, yeah, commissioner thinking. Okay, so what are your, what are you, do you guys, either one, let me go back to Tom.
Sure.
Is there a personal peeve that you have? Something that you, just a topic or something that you're actually working for?
Well, I'm not one of these people who comes in, I don't really have an axe to grind, so to speak. No, that's not it at all. I'm just interested in serving as commissioner. I deal with budgets and policies every day in what I do. I've been with the city for almost 18 years now. I'm the chief of the fire department, and I deal with budgets every year, and I deal with policy every year, and that's things I already have experience in, so I think I can bring that to the commission board. As far as a pet peeve or anything, no, there's just a lot of projects that have been worked on through the years by the commissioner's board, and I think there's some things that haven't been finished up. For example, one thing would be zoning. We've kicked zoning around for 20 plus years now. We finally have finished up the CFO end of things, which is, of course, the confined feeding operation part of it. But I don't think we need to stop there. I think if you're going to put zoning in, you need to do it all the way through. I think the next stage, they need to go ahead with the residential portion of it. The county currently has a subdivision ordinance in place. I personally have dealt with subdivision through my other job, so to speak, and I believe there's some serious flaws in that, and I think that's something else that needs to be corrected. I've talked to some people for some other counties, and I think there's some better ways to do some of that. Examples that we've seen that we're not having zoning, we've seen where like Indiana land developments come in and ruined areas. And I think there needs to be some things in place. I think people need to be able to, if they have a farm that's been in their family for a long time and no one's left to be able to farm it, I think they should be able to sell it and sell it the way they want to sell it. But I also believe we need to protect the community and keep some areas, and everybody's seen them. Everybody's been out through the county. We all know these areas, and they're just not nice to look at to begin with. But they're not only that, they hurt economic development. And I think zoning is the key to continue to try to bring more economic development into the county, more jobs, which falls back, that's one of my big things. I think anybody that's running for office is going to tell you the number one priority is jobs. And it absolutely is. The economy's beginning to head in the right direction. We need to keep that ball rolling. And I think, zoning holds part of the key for the county as far as that goes. So that's something I really think we need to progress towards.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on zoning or how it's been implemented?
I'll have to agree with Tom on the housing part of it, the residential. We've got some areas, like you said, Indiana land and some other places that I think we need to come in on, bring it in on because of just the way that they're not being upkept, the roads, the mowing, there's a lot of things, and some of them, the houses are run down everywhere, nobody's taking care of them, and they come here and develop them, and then they just seem to move out. But anyway, I don't have a pet peeve right now, anything. The only thing I would say is that the past commissioners, like we have some things that happen, or we'll give contracts out, we don't sometimes follow through with what after they get through the job. We don't make sure they have bonding. We don't make sure that we have somebody on the job inspecting it all the way through. So like I said, I don't have any great pet peeves, but there's a lot of issues out there in the county that we need to look at.
But yeah, you could go ahead and a lot of, from what my observations are of the commissioners, it's hard to push things forward all the way through, and you're going to add energy to the situation. Is that what I'm trying to pick up here?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So, let's go to jobs. Okay. Economic Growth Partnership. All right, they changed the board. Do you really, do you believe, I have an opinion. I'll try not to have it leak out. Okay. But
I know it'll be tough for you, honest. So.
I know, it's hard. I'm hurting.
It will be.
It's painful. But do you really believe that the Economic Growth Partnership is valuable in our community? Has it ever brought in jobs?
Can I go first?
Go ahead, Preston.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'd like to say is about the Economic Growth Partnership. First of all, it's been we've had it a long time, and I haven't seen a lot of progress. And I think that they need to lower their standards. Especially out on where they can build out there.
Out at the industrial park.
Industrial park, yes, that's correct. They need to lower their standards a little bit because I know two people personally that I've talked to tried to build out there. They wanted this, they wanted that, and they was going to bring more jobs to the community. They was going to build a plant out there, a business, an office building, a lot of things. But anyway, I think it's good, but the person that we choose to lead this, they've got to have some background. We've got to have their experience. We've got to have their credentials. I think we need to know what they did in the past. They should be able to show us what they helped develop in Clarksville or wherever they came from. I think they need to show us that they were a part of that.
Right.
So that's kind of where I go with it. That's where I kind of say.
Yeah, you need to have results from it.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah. The definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different
Right.
result. We've tried the same thing over and over and over for a long time to the tune of $40,000 a year out of the county budget towards this. And I will kick a little bit here on the same thing the press was talking about. I don't believe that an industrial park should serve as a private country club, and one or two people should have control over what a structure is going to look like coming into an industrial park. I think we're all going to agree on that. I think anybody that knows what's going on is going to agree on that.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm kind of like Rhonda. I have an opinion myself, and my opinion is that, we've tried this for a long, long time. I don't see much results. The test of anything, whether it's getting the job done or not, is always in the proof's in the pudding, so to speak. And, we haven't seen a lot of pudding out of
That's right.
the growth partnership. I know there's been some board restructuring, but it's my understanding there's still some members that were on that before that are still on that board, correct?
That's
Correct me if
correct.
I'm wrong, Rhonda.
Yes.
You go to the meetings, I'm sure.
Oh, well, no, that's the thing. The public is not allowed to be in those meetings. And even though David Hoare did say that he would send me the schedule and I could attend, that's never happened. So it's not open to the public because it's not funded sufficiently enough to be
Part of the Open Door Act. Open Door Act.
Yes.
But yeah, I think most of us who know, most of us have been around that know what's going on with any economic growth around. We've just not seen a lot of proven results from the growth partnership. I think we've all had some disappointment there. Like I said, $40,000 a year out of the county budget, and what are we seeing for our money? That's my question.
I agree, 100%. Like I said, if we get somebody in there that can run it and show us results,
Well, and I'll agree with that, but you've also got to have a board that's going to back you.
That's
you
correct.
can put the best person in the world in that position,
You
but if
gotta
they don't
have
have a board that's going to act in an appropriate way and it's going to back that person, and it's going to make practical decisions, not on how high the brick's going to be on the front of a building or which side of the building the loading docks are all going to be on. I mean, I'm like Preston. I've talked to people personally. I know a gentleman had a fire in a business and he was ready to relocate to industrial park. He needed his docks on one side of the building. They didn't like that plan. They turned him down. He sold the business. The jobs went away.
Right.
To me, that is not responsible governing.
No, it isn't.
Right, and it's not even improved ever since then either. It's not.
No.
It's not been helped.
Well, I haven't seen anything out there.
Okay.
And I'm not saying we're not going to go out and we're not going to land 1,000 GE jobs or 1,000 Ford jobs. We have to be reasonable. If we can pick up 10, 20 jobs here and there, it all adds up in the end.
That's right.
It makes a stronger economy though too. You have just a bunch of small businesses. If someone
Absolutely.
goes out, then you
Absolutely.
only lose a few jobs.
Yes,
Yes.
I agree.
We got the tax and they spend their money here in our county.
Right. Okay. Roads. This is easy. Okay.
It's very easy. Everybody that's been through the county knows shape. And this is something we've been beating our heads against the walls for a long time. To me, that's one of the commissioners' primary responsibility. They all have a foreman. They all have a district they oversee. Condition of our roads is one of the biggest things, that's the biggest part of the commissioner's job. For too long, we've taken money out of road funding or other things and used it to basically rob Peter and pay Paul. I was glad to hear one thing this morning at the commissioners' meeting. They did go ahead and made a motion pending council approval that they were going to head and take another $300,000 out of the riverboat money and go ahead and split that up by $100,000 per district. So that's another 100 they're trying to pump into the road repairs. But as anybody knows, every year we don't shore this situation up and shore up the funding for our roads, the more we fall behind, and we've been falling behind for a long time. And it's going to get, and I'm not one of these guys going to come out and I'm not going to jump up and down and scream, hey, we're going to put everything back to gravel. But everybody knows you can't pave over a bad foundation. And most of these roads are going to become in the condition that they're not, it doesn't matter if you're laying an inch of blacktop, 2 inches of blacktop, if there's not a base there, it's not going to last. And we've got to figure out something. We've got to make sure that all the funding that's put in place in a budget, line items are put in place for a reason. They need to make sure that monies that are allocated for roads, such as riverboat and the other line items, need to stay for roads and make sure that they don't get sent somewhere else to cover some other kind of bills.
Well, okay. So, Preston, it's $65,000 a mile.
Yes.
$65,000 a mile to lay blacktop. They do have a way to repair the roads, okay, in a way that, it's like $2,000 a mile. You can only do that with certain roads. How would you, I'll come back to you.
That's
How
fine.
would you do a mix? How would you do a mix? Say like you have $1 million. I'm not, no really, say if you have $1 million. That's still not that many miles. If
No,
you
it
have
isn't.
$1 million,
No.
however many miles that would be, how would that be? How many miles would that be?
Like 14.
14 miles. Okay. So how would you divide that money up, or where would you get the extra money?
Well,
this is hard. I'm sorry.
It
I'm
is.
sorry,
Well,
Preston.
first of all, I don't know what the other mix is.
Yeah,
I don't have any idea because
Right.
I haven't been there to see what it is.
right.
Nobody's explained it to me, but what I would say is you could start out trying, if it's $2,000 a mile for this one, I think you could try it on the initial, where you're gonna blacktop in areas, you know, that probably is not real bad in whosever district you're gonna do it in.
Right.
But I think you would probably need to go ahead with the standard blacktop, you know, whatever you're gonna blacktop, you know, whatever it costs. But, you know, if other will work, you need to use it. But
I'll
like I
back
said,
up a minute so you ain't really short cheating them here. The $2,000 mile was for blowing out and filling in the cracks.
It's crack seal,
with
just like the state
yeah.
does on the
Just-
highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the state does on the highway, but they say
Yeah.
the roads have to be in pretty decent shape for it
Yes,
to actually
they
do any
would.
good. And the idea for that is that it keeps the water out so they don't crack and bust the next year.
yes.
And I think the question is kind of being, how much would you try to do that to save the roads that are under, that could be saved now versus do a new blacktop, or would it be like a 50-50, or
Well, I would
try to
say,
stabilize all you can one year and then blacktop the next, or
yeah, I would say,
what would be the
yeah.
best for you?
Well,
Yeah.
well.
I would say stabilize, you know, if we got some roads in this will work, yes, I think stabilizing those, and then maybe, like I said, blacktop them once you can, and then the next year, maybe you can do more, you know? And like, I'm pretty sure the state, on the gas taxes, I think we get some money for the roads from there, but I don't even know if we got it this year or not. I haven't been in any meetings, so I don't know if we got that money.
The main thing I can see on it is, I think you've got to, you know, your budgets are going to be set up here in just another few months. The budgets are going to be set. The commissioner's going to know what they're going into next year. I think the whole deal is, you need to set up not a plan for what are we going to do this year. We need to plan for what are we going to be doing the next 5 to 10 years. You have to be able to take the money you've got coming in. You have to be able to grade these roads. I know the foremen go out and they grade them every year. They basically decide what they're going to have to pave this year. You've got a grading system already in place. You go out, the roads that are feasible, that you might be able to gain a few more years down the road by the sealing process. It's the same thing the state does. I know Temple's got the contract to do this right now. I've seen some roads out in the county where they've been doing it. And yeah, Max is exactly right. Keeps that water from infiltrating, keeps you having to freeze and thaw in the winter, destroying quite so bad. We've seen the state do it for years and years. I think it's a great idea. I think it might prolong the life of a road for another couple of years. But I think it's a matter of sitting down, how much money you're going to have to spend each year, setting down a maintenance plan. These are the roads we think we can seal and maybe put off, and then get your necessary, because you're going to play catch up for 5-6 years at the bare minimum. You're going to be playing catch up. So if you can go ahead and start sealing some of these roads to back them down the road a little bit, give you just a little bit of breathing room to maybe get to a point then, hey, you know, 3 or 4 years, we're paving these roads we sealed 3, 4, 5 years ago, whatever it might be, and our plans work. We've gave ourselves a little more lifespan on these sections of road to help ourselves out. And I think that's basically what you got to do. You got to sit down, you got to know what your budget's going to be, how much money you're going to have allocated. You got to decide what the road's great at, and just start figuring mileage and have at it. But you're going to have to develop a long-term plan. Nothing's going to change on these roads overnight, and it's going to take, like I said, at least 5 or 6 years before you start getting your head above water.
Right. And I think also, just adding to what Tom said, is I think you probably have to sit down with, you know, all 3 commissioners and see what district has the worst roads, you know.
Well, yeah, this is an unfair question for you,
It is.
because, you know, it's like you don't have the numbers in front of you.
Right.
Okay. I tell you what, I'm going to shine you up like a penny here. The new jail edition, Preston. What do you think of it? Can we handle it with the present? How much of a strain is this going to be on our community, as far as financially goes? The jail expansion.
Okay, I don't, like I said, I don't have any figures,
Right.
but I think starting out, it's gonna be a burden until, you know, hiring our new jailers, get everyone in place, because, you know, that's money that we gotta pay out for salaries, okay? I think after we get going, it might take a year, it might take 2 years, but after we get, probably a year, but after we get going and we get IDOC in there, you know, where they're paying us,
Right.
I think it'll take effect then, and I think the IDOC money will help us, you know, it's like $35 a day or something per person.
Okay, so, okay, let me back up here a minute. Okay, IODC, I didn't realize that we were,
IDOC.
Yeah, IDOC, Indiana Department of Corrections. See, what happens is now, it's July this year, anybody that's not got a violent crime,
right,
and they just got less than a year, they stay in your county jail.
Okay.
So.
But they're also hoping some of the income to help offset the cost of this is going to be the IDOC prisoners.
Right.
They're hoping
Right.
to bring state prisoners in on this, which the state
Right.
will fund you. Now, whether the numbers with the funding coming in will offset the full blow of what it's going to cost you to house those prisoners is yet to be seen.
Right.
And everybody's, they're hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, is what I always like to say. And I think they're hoping that money that's coming in from the state will be enough to cover the cost, and maybe pay a little bit. And if you don't care if I go ahead,
No, you go
President,
ahead. You go ahead.
I think right now the best estimate they've had is around $450,000 in additional budgeting just for staffing the jail. I think that's what they're going to try to place into the budget, or somewhere, a number roughly around it.
Yeah,
They're
they've
not for
approved
sure
that.
yet, but I think they're kicking around
Yeah.
$450,000.
Yeah.
They also went ahead, the county council last year passed the public safety tax. Actually, it went into effect the beginning of this year. They passed it last
Right.
year, and I believe the county's portion of that's going to be somewhere around $600,000, maybe just a little more. I think the total whack on that was around 900 something thousand. Then it was divided up amongst municipalities in the county, but of course the county receiving the bulk of that. And I believe theirs is around 600,000,
Right.
maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Like I said, I don't have the exact number, but somewhere right around that. And I think their thought is to either help pay for the project or fund that down the road as far as payments or bonds go on that. So there's some funding sources there, but it's still going to be a huge strain, and it's going to be one of those deals we're not going to know. And everybody can, we can do studies, we can do projections, we can talk to the experts. They can all say, this is what we think it's going to take, but you really do not know what it's going to take to run. And this is basically going to be a business. If you're hoping to have income off of IDOC and things like that in the state of Indiana, you're basically going to have to run it like a business. And nobody knows exactly what a business is going to do until you open for business. And you start having day-to-day operations. You start seeing, the state's going to have requirements. They're not going to send prisoners down to us unless we meet all their specifications. Nobody's for sure exactly what the medical's going to have to be here. That's going to have to staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I don't think anybody knows for sure what the cost is going to be of this operation until it starts operating. I understand, and yeah, believe me, I've been out to jail before on different medical runs, things like that, and yeah, they had a huge overcrowding problem. They really do. They really
Right.
do. And some people will say, well, why don't we do more home incarceration? Well, if they won't pay the fee, they won't pay the fee. You're going to go out and pick them up anyway. I mean, there's 14 ways you can look at it. To me, that's the sheriff, the prosecutor, and all their job. Our job as commissioners is going to be how to give them the tools they need to work with and make the system work as best we can. And I do believe there was a need for a jail expansion. Will it need to be this big? I don't know. But when you build something, you want to try to build it where it's going to last down the road. And it could be such a thing as we may need it every one of these beds 10, 15 years from now, just for people in the county. You never know. But if you're going to build, you might as well build the size you think is going to last for a while. And you don't want to have to go back and lick that calf over again and have to build something else. But it's going to be strained, and nobody knows for sure what it's going to be until it gets going. And I think anybody tries to tell you that they do, or they know the exact numbers, kidding themselves.
Right.
I know they've had some estimates on how much labor they think it's going to take to come in and run it, and I know Preston and I have even talked. They've hired some additional personnel,
Yes.
and I think the original number that I was hearing months ago was about, they thought they could run 4 to 5 more additional employees. Maybe they can, maybe the technology's there, maybe it's set up in such a way they can. I don't know, but it's just yet to be seen. But yeah, it's going to be a strain to begin with. It absolutely is. I mean, anybody that says it's not, is kidding themselves.
Until we get the operation running, and we won't know.
Yeah. Okay. Insurance for the employees. Now they've started getting insurance for the employees now. I know this was what you ran on, Preston, the getting insurance. So I mean, it really. Do you think they've allotted $5,000 per employee, and they're going to put out bids? This is the first time that they've put out bids.
I'm gonna hold you up 1 second. It's actually not quite that much. It's
Right.
$405 a month.
Right.
And I think it figures to 47 and some change, without a calculator in front of my
Right.
company. But it's $405 per month per employees, what they're going to set their bid process out at and see what they can get back for $405 a month. It figures up to somewhere around 730-something thousand, I think, just off the top of my head, if I remember right from figuring it this morning. But go ahead, sorry, I didn't interrupt.
That's okay. This is the first time they've taken bids on insurance since I've been up there for like 6-7 years. And they came back with really nice numbers. I mean, a lot nicer than what we had.
Well, as commissioners, how do you feel about the bidding process? I mean, that's one of the things,
Yeah.
like the insurance, they may not have even lost it before had they actually taken bids and tried to hold their suppliers accountable.
Right.
And the same supplier that had bid before come in with a way lower number this time than what they would have had it not been a bidding process at all. They actually come back in closer to what the rest of the others did, and that's kind of the question, you know, as some things it's hard not to get more bidders on, but other things, how do you feel about the bidding process and
Well,
Who'd you like? Doesn't matter.
yeah, it doesn't
Go
matter.
Preston.
Okay,
Preston.
well, I definitely like the bidding process, and I think that we need, if we can keep anything local and, you know, it's compatible or competitive, not competitive, competitive. But anyway, if we can keep it local, I say yes. But we need bids to go out. We need to think outside the box. We need to do whatever's best for the county. And like Tom said, they can get out there and let them bid and see if they can do it for this $405, whatever it is. I think whoever can do this and give us all the benefits that we had before, or better benefits, and I think the bidding process is the way we always need to go.
We bid everything else. Any kind of purchases you make, you have to have bids on. And whichever bid you decide on to what the governing body, whether it's a council, it's commissioners, or what it might be, always decide on. I think absolutely it has to be bid.
Yeah.
The 405, and I think they're figuring on 405 per month per employee, and roughly they're figuring on 150 employees. 150
you're right.
yeah,
Yeah, the ones that were interested in it.
Yes, 150 is what they were talking about this morning, 150 and 405 per week. So that basically gives you your 7 and some change per year. But again, I do believe insurance is important. You know, we're not talking about $100,000 a year jobs here. Most of the jobs in this community are somewhere, you know, between 20 and 40,000. People aren't only working for that salary a week. Those benefits are huge to them. I know for a fact, you know, no older than I am, I'm 44 years old, but I have, you know, I have medical issues within my family that, you know, we can't do without insurance, and we sure couldn't have bought insurance on $5,000 a year. If I was a single man in my 20s or maybe just married, yeah, I might be able to go out and buy my wife insurance for a whole year for $5,000. But I know there was a lot of people that wouldn't even come close covering their cost was probably double that or more. I'd also talked to some of the other county employees before they lost their insurance. And one thing that they were disturbed about was nobody ever came to them and talked to them about possibly paying in more than what they were paying to help offset the cost of the insurance. I think it's used to talk to your employees. I think, you know, as an office holder, you've got to not only talk to your employees, you've got to talk to the public, you've got to know what's going on with everybody. Communication's the key to everything. But I know that some of the employees I talked to, their biggest thing was that, you know, they weren't talked to about maybe wanting to contribute more out of their checks. The other side of this, when we talk about, you know, like I said, they're not $100,000 a year jobs. The benefits are huge. The superintendent of the highway department this morning was just talking about, you know, he was asked by one of the commissioners about an incident they'd had with a couple dump trucks. One dump truck backed into another dump truck. They got some blacktop dumped on the hood of another dump truck and melted down. And his statement was, you know, well, we're not providing any, we don't have our longevity going, we haven't been given any raises, and we don't have health insurance. You're not exactly going to pick the cream of the crop out of the job pool when you're not offering any benefits. When your salary is straight salary and there's nothing else to go with it, you've got to have a little bit to entice people to come stay in the area, work in the area, and get qualified people to do the jobs. Not to say we don't have qualified people now. I'll do the same thing the superintendent did this morning. Not to say that the county doesn't have good employees, but I mean, you could see a decline in the quality of employees we have down the road. And not only that, it's illegal. We're going to have to furnish insurance, period. You know, the federal law now, you know.
Well, that's a whole nother,
It's
that's a whole nother beast altogether.
Exactly.
I mean, you know.
But coming down the pipe, that could be something where the county could be, you know, and some would say, well, cheaper to pay the fine than it is to insure. Well, but that's not saying that's the right thing to do. You know, you've got to get insurance. You've got to get benefits back in there. You've got to try to attract the kind of workforce you want out here that's going to be working on our roads and doing the things we need done around the county. Not only at the highway department, but at the sheriff's department, out at dispatch. I mean, EMS. We've got, you know, the prosecutor's office. The courthouse. There's so many areas now that are involved with employees from the county. It's a broad span of folks, and you know, we want. I think you need to try to take care of them, and you need to try to make those jobs enticing to people.
Okay. The commissioners and the council gave the employees a $5,000 raise to pay for insurance this last year. How would you, it's going to be tricky, how are you going to wean everybody off of this? Is there a way to make it easier, or just rip it off like a bandage.
Well, I think that's the only choice you've got.
Yeah.
I think you take that money that you budgeted for that, which if you figure 5,000 by 150 employees, that's $750,000.
Right.
You're taking that money to go out and chase bids for. When it was given out to the employees, they was under the understanding this is for insurance, this is not a raise. They knew this was coming. And some will say, well, I'm not even taking insurance, I may be taking my spouse's insurance, something like that. Well, it served as a raise. I would count that as a $5,000 you got for the year, be happy, go on. It's time to put insurance back in the system again. I think it has to be that way. You're not going to be able to wean people off of it. You're going to take that $750, put it over here, and pay for your insurance.
I agree with him because I'm just hoping with the insurance, because like right now, $5,000 they give me or whatever, $4,700, whatever it is. I pay $472 a month for my wife, so they don't even pay for that. But if they come back in, you know, and they're charging me $300 a month or $350 a month, you know, $400 a month,
Yeah.
I'll be satisfied. And I think they're just going to have to just do it, you know.
And I will clarify real fast for anybody out there, you know, that's watching this. The $405 per month, that was strictly to pay for the employee portion of the insurance. That's what the county's going to contribute for that employee. Any additional spouse, dependents, anything like that's going to be added. That's going to be at the expense of the employee. So don't be thinking that the county's going out here trying to shop for 5 people in a household for $405 a month.
Right.
That's strictly what the county's going to pay per employee for that employee.
And most of the time, too, like mine, it was for myself and my wife.
Right.
Yeah.
And most people do. Most
Yeah.
people have family they want to
Yeah.
belong to it. And that's going to be something else that companies are going to have to come back with. You know, here's what the county's going to pay, and then here's what it's going to be for your spousal. Or, you know, I know most places will offer you spouse insurance, just for children insurance, or if you want to put the whole family on it. And I'm sure there'll be some varying packages involved when the bids come back.
Yes, I think so.
And then a lot of it will be up to the employee on what they want to take on, what they want to pay,
Yes, exactly.
as far as what kind of insurance they want to have.
That's correct. I agree with you.
Okay, we've had it about a half hour. I mean, you know, we can last forever or whatever. Is there something else that you want to talk about?
Oh.
And I
I
can't.
mean, I don't have anything unless you...
I've covered most of the things. You know, my biggest thing is this. I was born on a farm. You know, I've got a lot of experience in different areas. I'm an auctioneer. I've dealt in real estate business with my family business. I continue to raise cattle and hay on my family's farm. I've worked for the city for almost 18 years. I worked at the fire department. I've got a broad understanding. I'm not, you know, I've been on both sides of things. I've been on as far as the business owner side. I've been on the side as far as the employee side. I think I'm well rounded. I think I have a good understanding for what will work. And like I said again, I'm someone who wants to listen to what the employees want. I want to listen to what the people in the county want. And I think I'm out and about enough that I've got a pretty good idea of the direction we need to head in. So I would ask for everyone's vote in November.
Okay, and I might say that, you know, I have been dedicated to the county for 28 years.
Yes.
You know, and also I was with Kimball 29 years. And I was a specialist for Kimball in the case good products. So I've done a lot of negotiating. I've done a lot of problem solving if they have problems with this. So I'm good at negotiating and problem solving. And my 28 years in the county, I had to solve problems all the time. You know, and I'm known out there in the county. And I treat people the way I want to be treated. And, you know, and I'm honest, I'm dedicated, you know, and so I really would like to have your vote. And I'm not saying that I'm the best candidate or anything, but I'm just saying that I would work hard for you. And, of course, everybody knows if I would get this, I would have to quit the county because you can't draw 2 paychecks. But that would give me an opportunity to work full-time, whatever it takes to get the job done right for the people of Washington County, because that's what I want to get done. I'm interested in caring for the people of Washington County.
You can say you are the best candidate. It's okay.
Well, I'm not.
It's all right. Yeah.
No,
No, it's, yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, that.
Preston and I have known each other a long time.
Yeah, it's all
And
good.
like I said, I'm in Washington County all my life, and like I said, you got to treat people the way you want to be treated.
That's right.
And also, like I said, you know, I think I will do a good job.
You could be the best candidate. Just, think about that. It's all good. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. Preston Shell, Republican, and Tom Day, Democrat.
Rhonda, thank you for your time.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
And Max was here
He
working.
was, he helped
And he
us out a lot.
saved,
Clarified.
yeah.
He clarified that, I appreciate that.
All right, thank you so much.
Are you happy? I mean, is there anything else you need to do?
No, not really, I mean,
I think it really
Okay.
well.
I probably should talk a little more, but you know, you're fine.
Well, you're shy and bashful, that's okay.
Thank you so much. This is Rhonda, the Practical Politician. See you next week.